We're gonna go live in a second.
Okay.
Not that you would. I just wanted to warn you.
Thank you. Like, the warning is important to me.
That's exactly it. So we are live. Welcome to #coffee. We started a couple minutes early today, but that's because we were having like a wide ranging chat about really cool stuff that should just be on the show, which is basically pretty much all the conversations I have with you, brother of mine.
Yes. Hello.
So that's fun. Yes. Hi. So we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff today, but I wanted to right off the top of the bat. Is that a thing?
Sure.
That people say?
That's
right off the top of the something. Okay.
Everything's fine.
I decided that this show is going to have a sponsor. It's called the Brave browser. It is better than Chrome. If you're used to Chrome or anything like it, it's going to feel pretty familiar. But there's a couple of key differences. One, our show gets a referral if you try it out. So at just supporting the show, you can get the Brave browser, use it for a month, test it out, and the show gets $5 or $6, which of course we mostly put back into just paying for the basics or whatever, right? But the cool thing for our fans, for our fam, is you actually get paid for any ads that you end up seeing. You can actually turn it off if you want to, but you can get paid in cryptocurrency if you happen to see any ads. And it is probably one of the 1, 2, or 3 most private browsers that are around. I've been trying it out since yesterday, and I really, really like the features. So let me get the. I had the link copied, but then I had to send Greg the Zoom link, which doesn't need to go in the show comments. So if you want to support the show, switch over to this browser. Try it out for like a month, and then we'll get cryptocurrency as a referral. And seriously, like, keep trying it out, because their game plan is to basically make sure that a percentage of all of the ads that run through the browser are paying the people that are using the browser, and that the token that they're using, the cryptocurrency that they're using, is called BAT, or Basic Attention Token. So it's kind of all in the name. Anyway, so boom, we have a sponsor. That's the thing that we're doing, and we'll write some stuff up on it. And by we, I mean me. And of course,
good, because since I was resharing our link back to Facebook, I missed all of that. You're gonna have to re-explain it to me.
No, and honestly, I'd be happy to repeat it, because I'm just learning about it. Somebody told me about it because I got them on excuse me, I got them on Chirp, and they're like, man, like, are you guys using Brave? And because they've got content creator like referral links, right? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I've heard about Brave, but I hadn't tried it yet. So I get on there, and it's super slick. It's really nice. I already like it more than Chrome, which I've been on for like probably 10 years.
Right.
And the whole point to it is you hook up a wallet, a cryptocurrency wallet that they create for you, and every ad that you see on their platform, you get a little bit of Basic Attention Token. And their end goal is to, all the websites, everything else that we're getting hit with all the time, that people get paid for their attention. It's the kind of thing that we sort of talk about as this suggestion that we do all the time, and they're experimenting on actually making that happen. So it's nice. It's something that I want to share with everybody anyway. But if you just switch to that browser just because you want to be nice to us, then we actually get a little $5 referral for everybody who switches over and uses it for a month, I think. So thank you very much for trying it out. If you do, thank you for sharing it. Thank you for sharing the show. And now we can talk about other important stuff.
Yeah. How's the Dow doing this morning?
Yeah, the Dow looks like somebody kicked it off the ledge of a cliff.
Yeah, it was down 834 when I checked it last.
Damn, Daniel.
Which is not cool.
I mean,
morning, Ginny. Yeah, good morning, Jareen. Nice to see you this morning. I saw your video post this morning. It's inspiring as fuck.
So
awesome.
What video? With the core challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I was like all full of piss and vinegar yesterday, because we did church yesterday and it was really cool. And I needed to start a really kind of in-depth health 30-day challenge, and so I dragged all you poor bastards with me. It's down 1,000. Yeah, yikes.
Wow. Okay, so Corey was kind of explaining to me why that's significant. Like this is not just it doesn't seem just like a normal sell-off drop. This seems like something more significant.
It may not be, but it's so. I mean, how long have I been saying wait for the drop, wait for the drop, wait for the drop?
Because this is all sugar high from stock buybacks.
It most of it is inflated. And I'm actually gonna, if you can vamp, I'm gonna take a few seconds to find this actual graph, because it's basically like the market cap, so the whole money value of the stock market compared to GDP, right? And I want to get the exact times on this and show you guys what this looks like, because then you'll have a really good idea of what I've been harping
about.
So
while you're looking for that, like, I'm going to give my complete rank novice like encapsulation of where it seems like we are.
Get after it.
Growing economy is a good thing. It's kind of how we gauge the health of our economy, but the stock market is not only not the single most important factor, maybe not. It can be deceiving when you say the stock market's great, everybody loves our economy is great. It's not necessarily true. So what's happened here is the giant tax giveaway to large corporations and billionaires that the Trump administration generated was supposed to stimulate them to hire more people, to buy more equipment, to upsize production facilities, to basically to trickle down to workers in the economy. But what happened instead was the companies used that tax break money to buy back their own stock, inflating its value. And so that's not a real picture of health of the company, just that they drove their stock prices up by buying back shares. Is that correct?
That is correct. Okay. One of the other things that I've been tracking is something called quantitative easing, which actually started, I believe, under Obama during the financial crisis then. And it's kind of where they're injecting money into the system, like actual just currency into the system and it's kind of complicated. They're like buying back bonds or doing different things. But long story short, it's to, in my opinion, artificially support the stock market. And Trump has been throwing himself at the Federal Reserve, over and over and over and over and over again, yelling at them to increase quantitative easing for the sole purpose that it makes the stock market go up. Now, here's the problem. Let me show this to you guys here. And also, thank you for letting me nerd out about this shit.
I'm glad you know it, buddy, because I don't. I see a large down number on the Dow.
Yeah, sadly, that's nothing. So this is the ratio of total market cap, the total money value of the stock market versus the U.S. GDP, or gross domestic product, right? So look at 2000. What happened in 2000? The dot-com bubble, right? And the dot-com bubble is when there was 150% of the ratio of total market cap to GDP. And obviously that crashed like somebody shot it. Now, 2008, we had started coming back up, but the market was actually a little bit more healthy, we thought, right? But it was actually in large part, that crash happened because banks were ridiculous and, selling each other garbage and got over leveraged or whatever. So 2008, we were actually only at 110% of total market cap to US GDP, and it still got shot in the face. We are now at 158%. You're muted.
So the highest market cap to GDP ratio since
at least since the 70s and probably since the 30s.
Wow.
Right. So this is what I've been saying. Like the ordinarily it tracks within a range of the GDP, and when it gets overinflated, I mean, the dot-com bubble was the mother of all bubbles. This one, for many reasons, is significantly bigger already. So if you have money in 401ks, ask people smarter than me how to protect yourself from this, because this is coming, right? And again, I've been saying that for 2 years. And if you had just completely and totally got out of the market, you would have missed a lot of growth. And that's true, right? Which is why you got to find ways to diversify your portfolio as this goes up and up and up and up and up. You start taking money off the table or start putting it into things that they suggest that are counterfactual. Quite frankly, like I've been, investing only in cryptocurrency, but I'm a lunatic. So there's that.
Okay, so Dave has a comment up that says he, and I saw this as well, stock market down today due to coronavirus. That's what I read.
So there's something in the markets called a black swan event. And I think
doesn't sound good.
It's not. I've been saying this for a while. Like the thing that tipped things over, I I can't remember what it was in the .com thing, but it was like one particular, I think pets.com or something that they gave like $18 trillion to, and they barely had a website, right? But there was a particular black swan event that tipped things over the edge, right? But it was clearly hyperinflated as per that graph. Like the numbers hadn't been adding up for quite a while, right? And in 2008, it was the same thing. The second that Lehman Brothers went under, that was the black swan event that made people start distrusting the government, the whole housing market. I still remember people saying the housing market is only ever going to go up by 10% a year, and it's going to be amazing, and yada, right? And now, again, I've been saying that there's a crash coming for a long time. The coronavirus is just what people are going to glom onto, that if, and it's not like it won't have real effect on the markets. It will, right? If there's less travel, yada, yada. But people are speculating at such a high rate now in the markets that if they think, okay, this might actually be the thing that actually cools it, then they'll start pulling their stops and reducing their exposure. But by reducing their exposure, they bring the market down.
Gotcha.
Right? When you have
I can see how
deleveraging, then
I can see how the cascade effect of the coronavirus, because it's where so much electronic production is, right? China and now South Korea is, when you lock down a city the size of Wuhan, nobody goes to work. So how many factories have been shuttered temporarily until they navigate their way through this? And it's not the only city in China that's doing that, and South Korea, and I can see the knock-on effect would be.
Right. So it could have real market effects, but I would argue that it could have a much bigger effect just because, again, people are way, way out over the ledge of a cliff, and people are going to want to protect their gains. And anyone, smarter than me, which should be everyone in Wall Street, knows that there's no floor.
Right.
Like there's no sort of fundamentals that would suggest that this is going to go down to a certain point and the economy is so amazing that it's automatically going to lift it up. GDP is laughing at that right now, right? That's just not how we're what is being experienced on the ground. So yeah, and again, I told Greg this before we got on. He was like, this is not good, and I was kind of like, I kind of think it is. Now, if you
explain that.
So if you have a 401k, it's not good for you short term. So if you're thinking about retiring pretty soon, again, talk to a financial professional and find out how to start deleveraging portion of your portfolios out of these markets, because it's only a matter of time, right? And again, like 20 or 30% drop, could be a 50% drop. We don't know, but it's going to come. And granted, like there's no even certainty of that, right? So again, while I love this stuff and I'm a nerd about this stuff, I'm a guitar player. Ask professionals who know more than me, and don't take all of it out or whatever, right? Like you can figure out ways to be smart about it. But the reason I think it's good is this: if there is no crash that I know is coming before Donald Trump loses, then they'll just blame Democrats, right? And we'll have 4 years to basically try and stem the damage, and then President Romney will come in and cancel Social Security,
right?
Because
we can't afford it,
right? But if it happens in advance of that, that's the better thing. Like if it happens right now. Donald Trump, who put sick people on a plane with 150 healthy people and brought them back to the United States and literally forced the CDC to do it when they said, sir, this is idiotic, right? That guy, who we also know is like 8 million times dumb, will lose.
See, so I'm reading yesterday that he was furious that they did that.
Of course.
I think somebody did that on his behalf.
The CDC would never do that.
Right.
And if he has to throw somebody under the bus, that's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely mental. So as a like saving ourselves from authoritarianism and totalitarian fucking fascism, a little market crash right now might not be the worst thing that ever happened. And honestly, like it's going to happen anyway. As far as I'm concerned, it's already priced into the market. People just haven't seen it yet.
Right. Boxer Cat, that's our friend Elizabeth. She says, when I used to write ad copy, I was actually asked to try and sell a widget by bragging that my company had a stockpile of items whose supply chain was disrupted by the tsunami.
That's crazy. Oh wow.
Yeah. We're tsunami proof. That's right up there with we're iceberg proof. But they'll just say you can't trust Democrats with something so important. That is
Yeah,
what they will say.
They what they say and what the national narrative is. I mean, they said that about Obama too, and all you got to do is look at the actual economy under Obama. It's like, okay, pumpkins, you can sit down now.
Yeah, and by the way, any positives in the Trump economy were just follow on, like coasting to apogee from all the things that the Obama administration managed to get accomplished while getting our economy out of the ditch
and supercharged with the equivalent of Adderall and cocaine.
Right. Yeah. Which is
like this isn't even a sugar high. This is meth.
Oh, how have we gotten here again? Listen, I'm looking at 13 folks watching our video stream right now. Thank you all for joining us. We would like you to say hi in the comments because we don't know you're here unless you do. So if you're kind of new to us or you're shy, please just say hello down there in the comments so we know you're here. Sometimes if you use a username that we don't recognize, we might be puzzled about who you are. So if you're comfortable, let us know. We'd like to know our friends are watching us. Throw us a like and please share this back to Facebook if you'd be so kind. That's how we're going to get our numbers up.
Speaking
we need 850 something subscribers before we can go live from our phones and do some other cool stuff and monetize our stream. And we would really like to do that to make the show better and such like that there. So, hey, more subscribers, more viewers means better guests as well. Not better guests, but more guests. And we would really love that. Sue Gentry. Nice to see you. Good morning. I knew Laugh Track was watching because she's sitting right over there. So that's always nice. Yeah, nice to see all you folks in here this morning. What else is new?
Yeah, right.
Dave says, company I work for is going into our busiest time of the year without one of these elements that makes up our number one selling item. Why? Can't get them from China. There you go. Boxer Cat says, y'all, my father-in-law thinks that if Bernie wins or even any Democrat, we will be eating zoo animals like in Venezuela. He's a first-wave boomer and very easily confuzzled. Yeah, first of all, I don't think we have enough zoo animals to go around. So, yeah. I would also like to remind him that happened in post-war Germany.
What's that?
They ate all the animals in the Berlin Zoo because they couldn't get any food.
Wow, that's dark.
It's true. Yeah. In Anthony Beevor's excellent book, The Fall of Berlin, that's actually discussed quite a bit. One of the big remaining bastion flak towers in Berlin was right next to the zoo, and that's how they fed people for, I don't know, a few weeks. So, yeah. Morning, Sherry B. Nice to see you this morning. We're having a nice, cheerful conversation about the apocalyptic stock market crash that may be coming.
Everything is fine. We're fine. And this is the other thing too. Like with the market going down like this, watch Trump start screaming at the Fed to do more quantitative easing.
Right.
That's the cue, right?
Who's helped by that? Why would Trump be in favor of that?
The only reason Trump wants the market to keep going up is because that's the only thing that will save his presidency. Right? Like literally the only thing.
I got you. And it's also important to talk about the insular effect of having large amounts of money, in the stock market is that you can win either way. You can win on a loss. You can win on a gain. People that have the latitude to ride those systems are going to make money no matter how it goes.
Yeah, I'll tell you,
why they're not really interested in big
they don't care.
Change, right?
Ray Dalio is entirely prepared, I guarantee you, to make an alarming amount of money when the stock market crashes. Right. And not everyone can plan for that. I mean, if you personally, that's the thing, like with your 401k, how many people are shorting stocks with their 401k? Almost no one.
Right.
And if you're in a mutual fund, they never short anything.
Yep.
So the guys across the hall are shorting stocks like crazy. And the people that are holding the bag on that are running mutual funds that are across the hall.
Right. I mean, and we're talking about the 90s here, but when I was working in commercial radio, I was responsible for producing all the Sunday morning programs, and often there wasn't a co-host or a guest, so I would feed dumb questions to the stock market analyst guys who bought shows on Sunday morning radio stations. You know how that goes, and they all, the constant mantra was put your money in the stock market and forget you have it. Like don't buy, don't sell, don't ride waves. Just put the money there and the long-term trend will be good for you. And so that's who has 401ks. Those are the people they were talking to. And so, normal people do not get in front of a bus like this and wave a red flag at it. But people that have a lot of cushion and a lot of room to play do. A lot of time on their hands, things like that. So unless you're an ultra focused, professional. Stock market doesn't work that way.
It's tough. Well, this is the thing. Like the over long enough time periods, it's still true, right? If you're 20 years away from retirement, literally none of this matters.
And that's who these guys were advising, right? They were getting people to invest in their mutual fund or their stock plan.
The math on that holds true. Tony Robbins actually has a good bit about, if you were, in the market, and I think there's like 18 particular days where the vast majority of gains were, something like that, right? So you need to be in those things. So basically trying to dissuade people from trying to time the market, which I think is very, very good advice over long periods of time.
Right.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it and I'll link to it. But the math on it is very, very interesting. Basically, it really does say you really just want to put it in there and forget it's there.
Dave says, I kind of hope so. I mean, I always wondered what platypus tastes like. Spoiler alert, it's probably chicken. Yeah, that's platypus are venomous. I don't know if you want to be eating platypus. Just saying.
I kind of want to call them platypi.
But okay, but are we into a thing where the Greek versus Latin thing, like octopus is correct, not octopi?
I don't know.
Octopi is not correct.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's correct. I just want to.
I know. Yeah, Sherry, see, I'm listening. I'm just chasing the baby around while he's learning to jump. That's a fun age. That's where all my original gray hairs came from, watching my children jump off of things.
Egad.
Oh my God. Morning, Bubble Viz. Nice to see you this morning. Good morning, everyone else. Good to have you here. So let's move on to a couple other things.
Okay.
Yeah, I got some cool stuff. The Trump administration is arguing in court today that it could be traumatic to reunite thousands of migrant children with their parents. These are the children that have been permanently placed in homes because they couldn't be bothered to find the parents. So removing those kids from stable environments that they've attained is going to be traumatic. That's the argument. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. It's just one happy topic after another.
I'm telling you right now, it's days like this. So I'm like, so it would be all right if I just took a month off to nap, right?
Good question, Boxer Cat. But would more than one Elvis be an Elvi?
Now that I've heard it out loud, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I like it.
Platypi are a mistake. I'm thinking God was really baked that day. God ate some special brownies.
100%.
And decided to design a mammal with a duck bill that, do they lay eggs? I think, don't they lay eggs?
Something like that.
I don't know. I think they do. They lay eggs. It's crazy.
It's weird.
And they're venomous. And yeah, that's crazy. My poor folks, they lost a lot last time. They get very little Social Security because they owned their own business and paid themselves so little that mom may be sick waiting on bone marrow results. Yeah, that's going to be a story we hear a lot of in the next little while. I have no doubt about that. To be fair, if Donald Trump were your father,
thank you for
reuniting you with him would be traumatic.
That's fair.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So where's it at now? Down 780 is what I'm seeing on the ticker right now.
Yeah, it'll come back up a little bit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But that's the thing, right?
Okay, before we get into talking about candidate stuff, because I know we're going to do some of that today. Mainstream media is today they're laying out all the arguments for why you should absolutely not support Bernie Sanders, or all the reasons why you absolutely should support Bernie Sanders, or whatever your favorite position on all these can. Only X can win, only Y can win. That's the nature of the conversation that we see on the media. And listen, this is not media bashing for me. This is when you sit down in the morning to decide what your hosts are going to talk about for 3 hours. Other news stories are a big part of that pie. So that's just naturally the way those kind of conversations are going to go. And a lot of very, very, very smart and very well-informed people are making opinions on those things one way or the other this morning. But I want to take us back to the Indivisible group that I belong to, Indivisible Tampa Bay. They started booting people out this week for their only X can win. If Bernie's the nominee, we can't possibly win.
Good
posts, right? And I'm 100% behind that. And let me explain why. The Indivisible pledge that, they were involved in the 2016 election cycle, 2018 cycle. Ginny Rupert's probably going to have something to say about this in the comments, because she's one of the reasons I'm in that group at all, was her prescient and amazing comments and posts and her deep knowledge of these things. But I'm going to read you the entirety of the Indivisible pledge. And I want you to see how solidly it aligns with what we've been saying since the day after the election in 2016. We must defeat Donald Trump. The first step is a primary contest that produces a strong Democratic nominee. The second step is winning the general election. We will not accept anything less. To ensure this outcome, I pledge to make the primary constructive. We'll make the primary election about our hopes for the future and a robust debate of values, vision, and a contest of ideas. We'll remain grounded in our shared values, even if we support different candidates. Rally behind the winner. We'll support the ultimate Democratic nominee, whomever it is, period. No Monday morning quarterbacking, no third-party threats. Do the work to beat Trump. We're the grassroots army that's going to power the nominee to victory, and we'll show up to make calls, knock doors, and do whatever it takes. That is the Indivisible pledge, and I swear to you, that is it perfectly aligns with the way we have been talking about and feeling about this election cycle. And you know what I said in the group this morning about it is I don't post here very much, but I'm 100% behind this because none of them can win without us, without all of us. None of these, any of these candidates can beat Donald Trump, but only if we are 100% behind them, making phone calls, knocking doors, encouraging our friends, registering our friends, getting people reinvigorated and refocused on the election process. And the second huge reason is this is not a normal election. This is not you deciding what, I don't think any of us were concerned that Mitt Romney was going to destroy America. I think we were concerned that his economic policies were going to make poor people's lives worse. Right. But I don't think we were worried that he was going to undermine the actual fabric of existence of our democracy. But this is that. This election cycle is that. This particular president, is so fundamentally dangerous to everything that we value that we can't afford to be, pouty and fold our arms across our chest and stay the fuck home or vote third party. And I'm seeing people say they're going to vote third party if the nominee is whoever. And I'm not even going to say who. I want to get out of the whole. I want to get out of the whole Bernie bro conversation. I want to get out of the whole Bloomberg is a Nazi but with a blue hat on conversation. I want to get out of those conversations and say neither of those candidates would be worse than where we are now. They won't.
I gotta read you something.
Sure.
From fucking David Frum. God damn it. And honestly, I'm gonna go back and I shared 3 Joe Walsh fucking tweets yesterday.
What a world.
This timeline is drunk. Drunk. Hold on, let me see if I can find this here. Why do you gotta tweet so much, David Frum? God damn it. All right, I'll find it.
Dave Myers, Marianne Williamson has officially endorsed Bernie Sanders, and that cements it for me. I am all in on Bernie now.
That's fucking awesome.
No, that's absolutely unrealistic and unproductive and not helpful, and it's not happening. Just scrap these Democratic candidates to start over 300 million people. There has got to be better candidates. These are good candidates. These are excellent candidates. All of them are good candidates. There is nobody in this race that isn't capable of beating Donald J. Trump at the box office in November.
100%.
At the box office, at the ballot box in November. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the opposite direction that we feel like this needs to go. So, no.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're only on YouTube or only on Twitter, I could see where people might start to think that, right? Because all you see is the conflict. It just all looks like you're in a box where everyone's screaming at each other and everyone sucks because the algorithms dictate that that's what you're going to see. That's not how it is.
Right. What were you going to show us?
I'm working on it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'll keep
It's
vamping.
not working as well
Dave
as
Myers,
I would have
I'm not
liked.
friends with anyone that isn't registered to vote, so I'm all good there. That's excellent. That's good news.
That's pretty.
I find myself I rarely run across somebody anymore that isn't registered to vote. Or at least isn't willing to say that they're not registered to vote, because they know the next thing I'm gonna say to them is, well, you got no fucking business arguing with me if you're not registered to vote.
Yeah, exactly. You just shush your pants.
So maybe they're just not telling me because they know how I will be. I'm very Brandy Goyette in that regard. I'm going to be blunt with you if you tell me you're not registered to vote.
Yeah, she's rad.
Yep.
We need to have her on again soon too.
Yep. I'm sure she's ready for that. They've been out knocking doors. The Pasco Young Dems, a lot of whom we know and love, Dan Antonino, Anthony Avila, they were all out this weekend knocking on doors. So that's a cool thing. Our Florida primary is coming up, and it's going to be a big day because Florida is an important state. We're going to learn a lot about our electorate. And I don't think Bernie was helping himself by going all in on, look, but here's the thing. What he said was fair. What he said was accurate. What he said was, look, we revile the totalitarian regime of Cuba. We do, but we can't throw out the good things that Castro did, which was a little like saying, well, at least Hitler, they invented the Volkswagen. You know what? Like,
well, and like, you have to know that it's like the conversations I've been having with Sanders people on Twitter, like, because they're all like, oh, why wouldn't we be angry? Okay, just a little question here. Why would you deny it for so long and then just say, yeah, go fuck yourself, we're angry, when that could be the 1% thing that kills your campaign? Instead of, and this is crazy, like, holy shit crazy, what if you just dealt with it inside your campaign? Like, as a community, as a group of people, what if you just decided,
right,
hey, you're right, we can be more positive about this and channel it into more work, right?
Yep.
And own it.
Anger is okay. But what you do with that anger, how you turn that anger outward to the world, that's important. Does your anger motivate you to knock on 100 more doors this week? Or does it motivate you to post mean shit on Twitter about...
Yeah. It's like, and it's not like we didn't have, there's a whole hell of a lot of anger in the Yang Gang, right? And there was an active measure constantly to be trying to fix that,
right?
Which I guess is why I keep harping on this, because this is a solvable thing, and it's weird that they don't want to solve it. Like, it really is. We get that you're put upon and that the mainstream media doesn't like you. Okay, do you want to win? Because this is an easy thing you could do to win. And on that same token, he's got to know the biggest thing they're going to say against any Democrat is that you're a socialist. Why fucking give them more ammunition? Right? Like, it boggles the mind. Anyway, it's actually not. It wasn't David Frum, it was Paul Krugman.
Yeah, Ginny's got a great post here that this is worth mentioning. Indivisible Action Tampa Bay is endorsing Warren.
Nice.
And received a fantastic shout out from her. She actually
tweeted
that they were the first Indivisible Action regional group, I think, to endorse, and she was super excited about it. And she tweeted about Indivisible Action Tampa Bay. How cool is that? I thought that was pretty cool.
Ginny said Bo the fifth column, who is awesome. I need to listen to that guy more often. Did a fantastic video on Sanders, basically saying that for many Sanders supporters, Sanders is the compromise. And that's why many voted third party. Okay.
Dave, IATB is Indivisible Action Tampa Bay. It is our local Indivisible chapter.
Yep. So
go ahead with your Paul Krugman.
Yeah, I sent this as a love letter to Rio, who like gets his bee in a bonnet, because again, he's been submerged in anti-socialist propaganda his entire adult life.
Right.
So, Bernie Sanders is now the clear favorite for the Democratic nomination. Lots of things to say about that, but the most important is that he is not a left-leaning version of Trump. Even if you disagree with his ideas, he's not a wannabe authoritarian ruler. America under a Sanders presidency would still be America, both because Sanders is an infinitely better man than Trump, agreed, and because the Democratic Party won't enable abuse of power the way Republicans have. That's the biggest thing to me, right? Even if, like, it's true that Bernie Sanders is like a real secret authoritarian socialist,
right?
Which is silly to say.
If you're
the Democratic
saying
Party
that,
would not go along.
If you're out there in the world saying that, you are insulting me personally and every Democrat I know.
Yeah.
Because our biggest concern is what
you said,
authoritarianism and fascism. That's our biggest concern. That's why we're scared of what's happening at the legislative level right now. That's why we're scared of a president who's ignoring subpoenas.
Now,
I'm rewatching Slow Burn about the Nixon impeachment. Guess what Nixon never did? Ignored subpoenas.
Yeah, well,
here's turned over the fucking tapes, man.
Couple things with where we're at, though. Biden's first reaction to asking if he would obey a lawful subpoena was to say he wouldn't. Right? There's a Bernie. I know. But listen, there's like, what I'm saying is I want us to be watchful for where we are slipping as a party.
Right.
There's a Bernie Sanders surrogate saying that the first thing that that Bernie should do is fire every Trump supporter in the government.
No, well, that's exactly what's happening now.
That's exactly it, right?
Yeah.
But that's that. There we have like
that.
a Bernie surrogate running for Congress, saying that we should automatically do the thing that the authoritarian asshole did.
Yeah.
Right. So we're on this really scary slope. So I don't think it's irresponsible to be afraid of that. But
Right.
I also think that Democrats writ large would be like, oh, fuck no. Right. Like, I just don't see it. So anyway, he also said, and if you're worried about his economic agenda, what's your concern exactly? That he'll run budget deficits? Trump's doing that already. And the economic effects have been positive. And now, granted, the economic effects have been positive for the stock market. Just so we're super clear on that. I'm more concerned about A, electability, and B, if he does win, squandering political capital on unwinnable fights like abolishing private health insurance. But if he's the nominee, it's the job of Dems to make him electable, if at all possible, of course.
And we already know that the squad, we already know that AOC is going to be amenable to incremental change in our medical care system, right? She's already said, look, Medicare for all may not be our, maybe our ultimate goal, but it may not be our first stop on the road to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's honestly because she realizes she's going to have a much longer career than Bernie Sanders.
Right.
Yeah. Sylvester said, and this is a good little break. Thank you, Sylvester. Mathematician Katherine Johnson, who enabled manned space flights to become a reality because she was good at math, for crying out loud, has passed at 101 years of age. Thank you, Catherine, for your incredible mankind-changing contributions. Frickin' man.
Yeah. Yeah. So while we're on the subject of space,
go on.
Mad Mike Hughes, remember him?
No.
Mad Mike Hughes is the flat earther that was going to try and launch himself into space so that he could prove the Earth was flat. Well, he died this week.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He launched himself, and it did not go well, and he died.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Darwin is real.
Using a steam-powered rocket.
That's probably too soon.
And you can watch the launch video, and it's like the parachute shreds away from the bottom of the rig as soon as it cleared the tower. So it went up to looked like to me around 3,000 feet, and then
came back,
smoked him. Yeah.
Wow.
But he dead now. Yeah. And a lot of people are making fun, and I get that, Darwin Award, haha. But I'm like, if this guy wasn't a flat earther, would we be making fun of him?
No.
Because like the spirit of adventure, the spirit of exploration, I don't know. I have some respect for this guy that he was willing to try and engineer something to do that. He's not different than the people that started other alternate space programs, space attempt programs, except in that he was a flat earther. Now, there are other people I know that are in the high altitude rocketry community, the people that are hobbyists that work in high altitude rocketry, that said the guy was a complete dick and nobody liked him.
Yeah.
And the flat earther thing for him was showboating to get funding, that he didn't really hold that belief. So we may find out later that Mad Mike was an asshole and an idiot. But anybody that makes an attempt like this has some respect from me.
I'm glad you went there, because I would not have. And your position is kinder and yep. But I do wonder, I just gotta say, like, did he get up high enough to see the curvature of the Earth before dying? Because that would be good, right? Like, that's like, oh, I spent my whole life wrong, and then he dies.
Yeah.
There's some poetic. It's poetic. It's cute.
Yeah, gravity sucks. That's the ultimate lesson here.
It's probably too soon for that.
See, because gravity actually literally sucks.
No, it doesn't.
There's that. Okay, so now here's the other space story and this is like, I'm not trying to start a fight here. No, actually,
I love that caveat. I'm not starting to try to fight.
You're actually I think you're gonna like this, actually.
Okay, go on.
This is a think piece, if you will call it that, without much thought. It's could Elon Musk's Starship threaten alien life? All right, this guy is making the argument in this column that
it's too good.
No, that there are all sorts of protocols in place to protect alien life. There are actually international treaties about that, and that if we get in too big a hurry and they don't have a big thought out plan for how that should go, that we could infect Mars with human life that would eradicate whatever microbial life might be there. So SpaceX, too efficient. Need to slow down. Need to put out a position paper on what protocols they're going to put in place to protect alien life from human.
Yeah.
Human I love that this is a conversation though.
That's a good point.
This
Like
is a good
the
problem
fact
to have. If you're
right,
SpaceX, this
right.
is a really good problem to have.
Yeah, that we're here. Well, and I'll say I'm kind of amazed that people haven't been more scared of, because they don't, like, I think the government is sleeping on what the BFR can do.
Right.
Right. Like the entire world is sleeping on it. Like he's thinking about going into production such that they have 1,000 times the lift capacity of the planet Earth right now inside 5 years, 1,000 times. Like, what the hell? Right. So he's actually got the capacity to go, like, NASA, thank you for bootstrapping us. They're like, hey, can you bring us to the moon? No, we're busy moving to Mars, because go fuck yourself.
100 people at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, Bubblefizz, this is where I'm kind of on the same page as you. I don't feel like super clean about this, but here's the thing. If your planet sucks so much that there's barely any visible stuff, and that, like, you've got one, non-sentient little microbe on there that's really hard to find, it's ours. We're taking it.
Man, I can't get behind that.
But here's the thing.
What use is the dodo bird?
It's not about that. The Earth is teeming with life. The Earth is teeming with life.
Right.
Now,
that's exactly why anywhere else we find life, we should do our utmost to preserve its rarity, its peculiarity, its strangeness.
Completely and totally subservient to increasing the likelihood that a sentient species like ours lasts. Like, way subservient.
So this is not me saying we don't go.
Yeah.
This is me saying the moon is a pretty good start. Colonizing the moon is a pretty good start.
Yeah.
And that where we find life on Mars, we make those sanctuary zones. We make those places where we do everything possible to protect that microbial life.
I mean, that's sure.
We're going to spend,
unless it means not terraforming,
trillions of dollars. We're going to spend trillions of dollars to create a permanent presence on Mars. And I think we could shave off, 20-30 billion dollars of that money to make sure that we sanctify and protect. There's no, we've for the entirety of human existence, this has been the only place that life is known. I'm right back to Carl Sagan here. I bet you Carl Sagan would agree with me wholeheartedly.
Maybe
the specialness of life on other planets is incoming pun, astronomically.
Okay, here's a question. Unlikely. What if we go and we don't find it, but it might be somewhere on the planet? Because that was like when you got me to read the Red Mars books and stuff like that. Red Mars, Green Mars, Blue Mars, all that stuff, right? And they were constantly trying to protect life that might be there.
Right.
And I'm a hard pass on that.
I'm not.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't go and find it. Right. I'm not saying that we should apply zero attention to it, because that definitely isn't the case. Like we should be smart about it. But if it's a direct 1-to-1 equation between backing up the human species and protecting a biome that might be there with a very insignificant, probably very boring piece of bacteria.
Right. Rhodey just jumped up on your head. It looked like you were dreaming of Rhodey. It was weird.
I am dreaming of Rhodey. There he is. Freaking weirdo.
All right. So I guess how I feel about this is if there isn't a set of controls and protocols in place, then, and even if there are going to be rule breakers. India is not going to pay any attention.
Well, that's
right. So it's going to happen anyway. So we should do everything we can to slow that impulse down. And in Red Mars,
I can get behind that.
In the Red Mars, Blue Mars, Green Mars books, one of the things that happened is immediately the scientists themselves that were on that first mission were breaking that rule. They were already seeding life everywhere they could as soon as the pressure was high enough.
Yeah.
Right? As soon as the atmospheric content was high enough.
See, that would be my first instinct. Bamboo,
they were growing that shit.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I am so for increasing the amount and like any biosphere we can either build or populate with as much biodiversity as humanly possible, because that is very interesting.
Laugh Track's calling you out.
No, I know. And also, like, so just for the record, she said another product of privilege, Corey. Like, no one cared about white man bringing diseases to indigenous peoples. So it's completely not that in any way, shape, or form, unless you find a sentient being on Mars, and you won't. It's completely different. Like if you went to an island and cut the grass, I wouldn't care.
If you went to an island and eradicated a rare grass, you would.
I would care, but not nearly as much as potentially being able to support one family of humans.
Oh man, see,
I know. I get that this is weird.
the Everglades. You live next to the Everglades.
Yeah,
And the Everglades have always been seen as a pestilent problem.
that's super weird,
we know,
actually. Yeah.
now we know that the Everglades are a key system in keeping Florida Bay and the Gulf coastal waters and the Atlantic coastal waters,
Right.
Healthy. There are massive seagrass bed die-offs happening in Florida Bay, which has created an enormous desert down there where no sponges, no turtles, no dolphins, none of the thousands of species of fish and birds that inhabit those places. Why? Because we saw the Everglades as a problem to be solved, so more people could.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And I want to actually read. Boxer said conquistadors didn't see the natives as humans, so that's interesting too as a counter argument to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
As far as there may be the Amazon yada yada yada. Right. My whole thing is with Mars is right now is it looks just like a rock.
Mm-hmm.
So let's maybe not get ahead of ourselves saying that it's got some magical properties that it doesn't have.
Everglades just looks like a swamp.
But okay, fair. But a rock is not a swamp, right? There is increasing orders of magnitude of potential value in a biome than on a rock.
100 years ago, people that wanted to drain the Everglades were saying exactly what you're saying now. It's useless. There's nothing there of value. You live within 10 miles of Stoneman Douglas High School, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, where the massacre took place. Right? She wrote a book called River of Grass, and you need to sit down and read it.
Okay, fair enough.
It's an easy book, and you should read it.
All right,
and then we'll have this conversation again.
No, and again, I'm ready to be wrong about this because I get that what I'm saying is
what I love about you
is is a tad hyperbolic. I'm just factoring everything between like the existential risk of losing this biome for everything,
right?
And being able to go and create one that would ultimately end up being as interesting, if not more interesting.
Our diaspora
the biodiversity on Earth, right?
is required and necessary and inevitable.
Now, it's not that I'm saying no effort should be applied whatsoever. Just so we're clear on that. It's just that I want it to be subservient to achieving the goal.
So Boxer Cat's making a skink reference there. Thanks, Governor.
Awesome.
My nickname in the internet world is Skink Tyree because he was a governor of Florida who was a conservationist and then became sort of a pirate vigilante superhero after that. So that's the character I named myself after on the internet.
That checks out.
Yeah. Those books, by the way, you should read because they're fucking hilarious and good.
Yep. All right.
Yep. We actually, Sherry, we heard Mike Silvestri posted about Katherine Johnson a little further up thread. So we talked about it. We're not ignoring that. We just so you know, we're aware of it. Yeah. So there. Mars.
Boom.
Yeah, I only brought that up to say this is a good problem for SpaceX to have.
That's very
They
true.
now may have to make a plan and protocols to make sure they don't accidentally step on the only life on Mars when they get out of the rocket.
Is it Joe Scarborough that said, I think it was him too. He said that both of the women need to drop out so that the anti-Sanders wing can coalesce.
Let the men talk.
Right. Apparently, right? So here's the popular vote right now. Sanders 140,000, Buttigieg 120,000, Klobuchar 90, Warren 70.
So
and then Biden
they're
61
getting more votes than any of the men. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And then of course it drops off to Steyer and everybody else. Gabbard, who is still in the race, has half of the popular vote that Andrew Yang has. So if anyone should drop out of the race, it's fucking Tulsi Gabbard, Mrs. fucking voting present. Not that I'm a little bitter about that, but I will remain bitter about that until I die. Cowardice.
Bubba's Corey TV series The Mandalorian has used a new way of shooting their scenes using a giant LED screen in the background instead of a green screen.
I did not know that.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Also, I am very well versed in The Mandalorian as a TV series because I've watched it all like 3 times. I might be obsessed.
Corey's saying that was Joe Scarborough was saying the women need to drop out.
Yeah.
Really? Let the men talk, ladies.
It's just
that guy. I am amazed Mika hasn't murdered him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, she grew up Republican, so.
No.
Did she?
No, I think her dad.
Oh, you know what? I
Jimmy,
think you're
Jimmy
right.
Carter's.
Yeah,
sex
no,
mate, wasn't he?
I rescind that. I think you're right.
But okay, but that was also in a time where socially you did have dinner with Republicans and people from the other party. Like that was
I guess I
their
no,
social
I just like
gathering.
that whole
Her house as a child was always full of all sorts of
yeah.
amazing.
It's just like that quasi subservient power dynamic.
Yeah,
And honestly, like I hope I'm wrong about that. Like I hope somebody could just tell me that is not the situation that Meek is in. I'm full of shit, because that would make me feel better about that.
Well, that's one path to victory, I suppose. Tell everyone else to quit.
Well, honestly, like fucking Bloomberg did that already.
Yeah,
like they leaked a memo that literally said everyone who isn't named Bernie Sanders should get out of the race so that Big Daddy Warbucks can just go and win.
Yeah.
And I get the impulse, right? Like the moderate wing now.
We can't coalesce with all you noisy loudmouths in the race,
right? Like why would and to be fair, that's how Trump won the Republican nomination.
Right.
He had like 25 to 30% of the vote locked up, and everyone was fighting over the rest of it. And then an insurgent took over the party. So, I mean, granted, like an insurgent that just wants people to have healthcare and free college. I mean, come on, settle down. But, yeah, like from a moderate perspective, this is the other thing too. Like, how many pieces of conventional wisdom, Greg, have been busted already in the last month of actual voting?
Oh, a lot, and it's
right?
making me, no candidate, Republican or Democrat, has ever won the first three.
Right,
It's never happened before. Bernie Sanders is winning those. So, like this week has been a week for me to say, it may turn out that Bernie Sanders is the nominee. So,
and I would never have expected
how we're going to make sure that that's a supportable position, and he's ready.
Yep.
We're ready to elect him.
100%. And this is the thing, like in a divided field like this, if he does anywhere close to 50% on Super Tuesday, everyone else needs to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because that's intense, right? That's not broker convention territory.
Right.
That's him getting 50% of the vote. That's a big deal, right? Like Nevada, he got like 47, 48% of the vote. And, Latino turnout was completely and totally huge, which, and Greg, you were saying he's got like
I'm looking for it right now. Let me scroll up. Go ahead.
Yeah, just that he's got, a very particular kind of Latin outreach that everyone said was going to be pointless. Interestingly enough, like if they do that in Texas, right? If he combines with whatever Beto's got going on and does some major Latin outreach in Texas, we could flip Texas.
Yep.
And if they maintain, if they full,
he got 51% of the Hispanic vote in Nevada.
There you go.
Divided among all the other candidates. The next closest was Biden with 17%.
Wow.
He overwhelmingly smashed the Latino demographic.
This is the thing. Like, what happens if he wins South Carolina?
And he could,
right? Because he's not like. Remember in 2015, black people definitely don't like Bernie Sanders. Was what the mainstream media said every day. Right. And the polling showed that was kind of accurate. Well, the polling is not showing that now. Right. Or the polling was, I think, a little bit before that in South Carolina, but the voting isn't showing that, which means he's going out, doing the outreach and getting things done.
Right. And I was thinking about that. Laugh Track and I were having a conversation earlier about why isn't he more resonant with African-American voters? And I think part of it may be religious conservatism. Like African Americans are more religiously conservative than we think they are. That as a group, they're not all about gay rights necessarily. And I think that maybe Biden feels more safe to them, first because of his connection to Obama, and secondly because he's more moderate. And I think it may be surprising for most people that, especially African Americans over 40 years of age, are more conservative than we might think of them as a group. And also that I think the reason Biden is doing so well in South Carolina is because African American women organizers are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. I organized for Our Future in the 2018 cycle with women who walked for Bobby Kennedy. They were field organizers being paid to do it in their late 70s. These are women who have been a part of the civil rights movement since its inception. And I think maybe that's why Biden is doing better with that demographic than some of the more progressive candidates. So, yeah. And let's not ever forget that Barack Obama was an extraordinary candidate. He was outside of all norms and bounds. He was amazing.
Yep. He had to be.
Yep.
Sylvester said hardcore Republican. Clint Eastwood is throwing his support behind pseudo Democrat Mike Bloomberg.
Yeah.
That's,
yeah.
It's like
Well,
empty chair says what?
yeah, I don't want to give Clint Eastwood credit, but he has not always been a super hardcore right wing person, and that's what made that thing so baffling with the empty chair, was that he has not always been outspokenly pro Republican, not by a long shot. So it was kind of a weird twist for him. I don't know. He thinks on his own path. So yeah. I had to practically take the pen out of my husband's hand. He was going to go ahead and fill out his ballot. No, wait. Yeah, wait, because somebody may drop, right? Keep your ballot as long as you can if you're doing the vote by mail thing, wherever you are. Like, you don't want to throw that vote to somebody who drops out of the race the next day. For another reason besides the obvious support is they're going to fundraise on those votes. And if we want people to stay in the race and fundraise, we need to show that they're getting some votes out there still. Let's see, what else did I have that we wanted to talk about? Okay, I'm going to link to a Florida story that you guys should. This is absolutely a beautiful blog post from what a surprise that I would subscribe to a blog called The Bitter Southerner. And this is about wildlife corridors in Florida. It's actually called A Corridor Runs Through It. And it's the story of how the movement to create wildlife corridors in Florida was born and how it continues. And it's a spectacularly good idea that has big backing, and the pictures and the story in this blog post are phenomenally good, and I recommend that y'all give it a read and a look. The pictures alone are worth the click. So there's that. And the last, I have a sports story.
Okay.
Where he's like, oh God, no, not a sports story. Yes, a sports story. You know who Mike Ayers is?
No.
Every NHL team is required to have an emergency standby goalie that is available to either team in the game.
Really?
Yes. Because goalies are not, they don't have a lot of goalies on hockey teams.
They don't have a big bench. Yeah.
So here's what happened. The Carolina Hurricanes were playing the Toronto Maple Leafs. And this is a story that could really only happen to the Maple Leafs. And both of the Panthers, not Panthers, the Hurricane goalies were injured. And after the first injury, this guy, David Ayers, he's the Zamboni driver in the Toronto Maple Leafs organization. So once their first goalie went down with an injury, he has to be in beeper contact, and he radioed down to the side to the box and said, "Hey, I'm here in the building. I'm available." And they said, "Well, we need you to go down and get suited up just in case something happens." So middle of the second period, the Zamboni driver goes into the locker room, dresses himself up, gets ready for goalie action, and sure enough, the Hurricanes' other goalie got injured, and so David Ayers had to go into the game. He is employed by the Maple Leafs. He is the Zamboni driver for the Maple Leafs. He had to go into the game. He gave up 2 goals on the first 2 shots, but then the Hurricanes held on and won the game 6-3. So the Zamboni driver for the Maple Leafs actually helped the Carolina Hurricanes get a win in a game over the weekend. And it's that's the coolest story I've ever heard.
I kind of like it.
That's pretty cool. And he also he gave up hockey in his 20s. He had a kidney transplant, and he could no longer play without, if you get if you only have 1 kidney left and you take an injury, that's kind of fatal. So he had to stop playing hockey. Never thought he would dress out and play hockey again, but he actually played in an NHL game. He's 42, and he became the oldest goalie ever to get a win in his first start in the history of the NHL. And now the Maple Leafs organization is selling Carolina Hurricanes jerseys with his name and number on them, and he's going to get some of the revenue from that. I just thought this was a very cool sports story. I didn't know about the whole rule about you had to have a goalie ready to play for either team in an emergency situation, and sure enough, it happened. And but that could only happen to the Maple Leafs, right? You lose to your own Zamboni driver.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's actually a story about hockey that I was not aware of.
Yeah, it just happened over the weekend. So brand new story.
That's fun.
I thought that was pretty cool. I just wanted to share that.
That is super cool.
Because I figured it was a sports story that wouldn't make you lose your mind with boredom. Because hockey.
Yeah. Win.
Yeah, I clicked the link and it took me away from you guys. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you have to right click on the links, Corey, and open them in a new tab. So yeah. Let's see what else. He's the ice cream guy. No. No, Zamboni is the ice machine, not the ice cream machine. Yeah, because driving the Zamboni isn't cool enough. Right now, he's the coolest Zamboni driver that's ever lived, and the oldest NHL goalie ever to get a win in his first start.
Fair enough.
Not bad.
Yeah, Dana said, I leave the show. You're talking about the stock market. Do some work. Come back, and the topic is hockey. This time that just gets weirder by the minute.
Yeah, that's us.
That's us. Confirm.
Sherry says they had to hand stitch his name onto the back of the jersey because they didn't have one standing by. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. He's going to be drafted. Yeah, I don't think so. Like, oh yeah, and they're donating revenue to a kidney health organization in Canada in his name. So good on you, Maple Leafs. It's the one right thing you appear to have done this year. I don't know how they're doing, but perennially finding them in the cellar is not shocking.
Yeah, it's pretty normal.
Been a while. How long has it been since they won a Stanley Cup?
I don't even know.
Jesus, the 60s maybe? It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Boxer says, those Amber Alert buzzes? I just got a weather alert about snow squalls and whiteout conditions. So welcome to Colorado.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. We're going to get some stormy weather here. It's going to get cold again this week.
So check this out. I know this takes away from the guys. This is actually in the comments as well. So I sort of adopted a sponsor for the show. Anybody that switches over to the Brave browser, we get like a little $5 referral bonus or whatever. But it's an awesome browser. Like I have switched to it and I'm already super excited about it. So it's like win-win or whatever. But I want to show you guys this because I didn't see this beforehand. It actually stops all the ads and trackers and stuff. So it's got its own embedded ad blocker. Nice. But it tells you the amount of time you saved. Like I've been using this browser since like last night. It's only 19 seconds, but that's
so like for like page load times and things like that.
Yeah, I guess.
Nice.
And of course, the Brave rewards thing. I've got the ads turned on. I haven't actually seen any yet, I don't think. And so every time you watch or even there's like a video playing in the browser, it actually pays you for that.
Nice.
As opposed to like you get revenue sharing for your own attention, which is kind of the point of the whole browser.
I wonder what they charge for ads. Maybe we should put some ads on there.
Maybe, hey, like whatever we earn from it, we should like use it on there.
Yep,
that's an interesting idea. Anyway, yeah, I'm really digging it. So if you guys feel like doing us a favor, it is frankly, I've been using Chrome for a long time. It's better than Chrome, faster, and it's kind of more slick. You can actually import all of your stuff.
Nice.
All of my extensions were easy. Like the LastPass thing that I use all the time is really easy to do.
Yeah.
Anyway,
if I could just get into my LastPass account again, that'd be cool. Yeah, Kat says she's never had her phone give me a weather alert. I have all of them enabled on my phone because I tend to go live and talk about severe weather, and yeah, it's not uncommon for me to get those. It can be weird when it goes off, and like when mine goes off and Donna's goes off at the same time, it's like holy shit, nuclear war.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave Myers, his thing about I leave the show talking about the stock market, and Bubbleviz next topic is crochet. Dave, yes, we're going to talk about.
All right. So here's something that happened 19 minutes ago. A certain diminutive ex-mayor of New York. He's very short. That was actually kind of surprising. Mike Bloomberg just tweeted out, in 2005, I signed a local law allowing New Yorkers to sue gun manufacturers for criminal negligence. That same year, Bernie voted to give gun manufacturers immunity, overriding my efforts to make New Yorkers safer. I mean, that's a thing right there.
Bernie has been historically pro-gun.
Yep.
Because he lives in a
rural state.
Right. Has modified on that position, has talked about it. So,
yeah.
But this is
good
the thing.
This
is when we should be having this conversation now in the primary season.
Right. That's the whole point.
What it's for. Yep. Yeah. So there you go. Hey, we killed an hour. How about that?
Oh, it's been an hour already? Holy crap.
Yeah. So listen, I did not make much progress on my primary challenge, which was to reduce the amount I'm spoke. I mean, I'm working on it, but I did clean up some. It was my other thing that I identified when we were doing that challenge. Was some cleaning. For
the challenge, how can we make that something that is easy to commit to? Like, because it feels like it might be too vague. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it's like. So I'm spitballing here right now.
Right.
Like, is there like a timer or?
Yeah, 1 hour. 1 hour is going to get me to the goal.
Okay.
Like I'll be smoking less than a pack a day if I smoke 1 per hour.
Okay.
But I didn't start first thing this morning. So that's, yeah.
Okay.
But that's the thing. Like if I'm awake for 16 or 17 or 18 hours in a day and I only smoke 1 per hour, then I'm down to a pack a day. So there's a definitely, yeah. And I know, I know how to do that. Like that's
okay.
Also, that's how you stop drinking and using drugs too, is I'm just not going to drink for an hour.
just do it.
Procrastination is
been there.
That's the key.
You're still in the contemplative phase. That's cool. Just start day one when you achieve your first day one.
Right.
And then there will be like pressure on yourself to continue, right?
Yep.
This is a good point. Corona reached Europe, 200 cases in Italy.
Yep.
We're like, hey, what's going on? To 200 cases in Italy? I got a weird feeling about this because ordinarily, and Michelle is always like, you know what's more dangerous than the coronavirus? Like more deadly? I said, what? The flu. So just to be super fair, the flu per capita, the people that get the flu, very likely still kills more people than the coronavirus.
Yep.
But that is not a sexy news headline. So let's keep it all.
So
context.
Here's the thing that gives me an eye twitch. The anti-vax people are posting a picture of the back of some sort of cleaning liquid bottle that says, kills germs that cause blah, 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 blah. And it has coronavirus on there. And the takeaway that they wanted you to get from this meme is, how did they know about this 2 years ago? Well, because coronavirus isn't new, dummies. Coronavirus is something that's been identified as a pathogen for a while now. This is just the newest version.
Well, and honestly, if it doesn't matter what kind of virus it is, if it kills viruses, it kills viruses.
No, but they're trying to do this idea that it was released on purpose.
Oh, fuck
and
them.
The government knew about it. All that QAnon level anti-vax bullshit.
Yeah.
So
they need to stop talking.
Yeah. Corona is a lot worse than Corona. Okay. I used to lie awake and wish my dad would go to bed because if he was in bed, he wouldn't be smoking.
Damn, Daniel.
I got you, Deb. I got you, Boxer Cat. I'm with you. I know.
Dreen went on 2 walks this morning, one with dog, one without. Awesome. Yeah, she
reminds me of my dog that had no legs named Stumpy. Every morning I used to take him out for a drag.
No.
I'm sorry. Couldn't help myself. Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake. No. Dave, no. Unless you have mountains of proof.
There is that weird story out of New York about the Harvard professor that was shipping virus components back and forth to China.
Maybe, but also mountains of proof.
No, they filed charges against him in federal court.
And it's specifically about this virus?
Yes. Well,
that we know it for sure?
This virus, about viral components.
Okay, so viral components that I submit, stipulate possibility, right? Or the way viruses grow up in China often, right? Because of the proximity of animals in really, really bad conditions to actual humans without any protection, right? Like this thing has happened before. This is the kind of virus that it produces. Oh, but no, there's this like evil scientist who was sending viral components to China, right? The impetus is definitely on the latter. You should
probably read the indictment.
All right,
because it gave me pause.
Okay,
I'm pretty skeptical.
Okay. Hey, if there's mountains, there's mountains.
Yeah, a brisk drag. That's right.
Just throwing a caution flag.
Yep. Yeah, watch out for the even more deadly version, the Modelo virus. Yeah. So if you get coronavirus, do you want to get Lyme disease too? So you can have a Lyme.
Oh no.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I get that, Corey. They're using viral components for all kinds of stuff like cancer treatment, etc. I get what we're saying here, but it's not that's a weird idea that isn't beyond the realm of possibility. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, but just like anything that plays into conspiracy theory mind, which this does, gets an automatic hard pass unless it's disgustingly proven.
Isn't there a germ lab near the origin site? There is, in Wuhan, as a matter of fact.
There's germ labs in every city. Yes.
Okay.
Look, I would put money on it sight unseen that that's a thing.
Yep. Okay. So now we have something to talk about on Wednesday.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, do a Google search. I'm sure InfoWars is just jam-packed full of stuff. Dave, I'm sorry. I totally made that. I was like, while I was making that joke, I felt bad about it. I apologize in advance because I know that you would never go there or look at anything that stupid.
Hey, we got 17 concurrent viewers on here right now. That's good.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
Pretty good on YouTube. On the YouTubes.
All right, that's good to know. I was saying that coronavirus might have been less deadly than the flu, and I was wrong. Thank you for that, BubbleViz, Mr. fucking Google machine.
Yep. So far, because of its low spread rate, right? But let's,
Well, here's the thing: like the low spread rate might not be a low spread rate because they just raised the incubation time. Right. So don't get me wrong; this could be like super bad, like real bad.
Wuhan Germ Lab is the biggest in China. Their regulations are way less strict than ours, which
that's
lax.
That's true.
Something to be thinking
and
about.
I would still submit it's far more likely that something that looks and works like SARS, which grew up with frickin' chickens or pigs, that it's still far more likely that something happened with that.
Yeah, cross
but definitely not impossible.
It's going to be a problem. Yep. I've played what's the game called? Is it called Plague? The game where your goal is to kill everybody in the world. It's a phone app game. Have you ever played this?
Wait, what?
I think it's called Plague. It's a phone app game.
I have played it.
Your goal is to genetically modify either a virus or some sort of germ and kill everybody.
Yeah.
Dave, that is a totally fair response. Yeah, I have a huge history of being an InfoWars guy. Makes dismissive wanking gesture. That is an appropriate response to my very terrible joke. Entirely. I deserved that.
Well, let's wrap this up. I'm going to do some cleaning up around here and maybe have some company later to watch ospreys on the pond. Do some bird watching. Yeah. It's going to be a fun day. So we're back on Wednesday, as far as we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they turn the internet off.
Or I get a offer letter.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting about that.
Me too. Well, so do they, apparently.
Assholes.
So we'll have to see how it goes. Yeah. But it's easier to blame rustics who eat exotic critters than to admit your lab let one go.
I mean, it's definitely more convenient.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big government deniability is definitely a thing.
That's true, especially there.
Yeah.
They make us look transparent.
Oh my gosh. Do they
That's
ever.
a thing.
All right, man. That's going to do it for today's hashtag coffee. Again, we would love for you to like, subscribe, and share all of our feeds. It's important. We want to get ourselves to 1,000 subscribers on this channel. We know that's going to take some time and some effort.
It'll take a minute.
We're at about 150 now, so we got a ways to go to get to 1,000. But all of your help would be welcome in that process. So,
yes. And in the show comments, there's a link to our referral thing for the Brave browser. Go try it.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think.
Yep. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Made it. Oh, hey, Ash. Good morning, Ash. Good evening, Ash.
Speaking of which, yeah, Ash, about the moving forward thing, I would absolutely love to have you on. I'll DM you and we'll pick a time. That'd be really cool.
I'm gonna real quick before we go. I'm gonna get Ash's link up here so we can share it because it's important. Ash is writing an amazing memoir about her experience as a war correspondent and journalist in trouble spots in the world. Lovely spots that include Syria, Iraq, Palestine, Turkey, and she's now in the phase where she needs to hire artists to do the cover work and some other things. And we are super, super excited and proud to support Ash's work and super grateful whenever she comes on to give us her expertise on what life is like in that region. So you should click on that link right there and find a way to support an amazing independent journalist who's writing a really great book. And we've seen excerpts, and it's good. It's about her personal journey in that world, and it's on that level pretty freaking amazing. So support our friend Ash, will you? Yeah. Boxer Cat's off to bobsled to work. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, guys. We love you very much. That's going to do it for hashtag coffee for today. And I am wearing my hide and seek world champion shirt. I'm not wearing my amazing hide and seek world champion socks that Boxer Cat sent me because it almost never gets cold enough here to wear socks.
That is messed up.
But I have them. And so Sasquatch is real.